I guess something talked about was moving on, having 24 hours before you move on.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think the players did that today with the big Texas game coming up?
I think they did a great job. We talked a lot about it today in our meetings with our leadership group. We talked about it at our team meeting. I thought they moved around as well as we have on a Monday, and they understand we got a lot of work to do and a big challenge ahead of us. And as we were just wrapping up here now, I was very pleased with our Monday workout.
When someone mentions that 2021 game in Texas, what's the first thing that you think about?
It's old news. Doesn't matter. Both teams are significantly better, and it doesn't do. It's honestly it's so far in the past. We got to keep moving. Yeah, it helped this program. It helped our players, but we can't. I mean, that's about it.
And when you look at the tape, what stands out about Texas now?
Yeah, and I guess I'll add to that. I hope it's the last time I have to answer that question this week, honestly. I do. I really want to focus on our team now and where we're going, because that's what's important. It's an excellent football team across the board. You can tell for Coach Sarkisian the stamp he's put on it offensively. He's one of the best play callers in the country. The movements and shifts and different looks that he gives, how they spread the ball about, the playmakers that they have, huge up front and very athletic, well-coached offensive line. And then defensively, a front that's, again, I think that's a group from, if you are going to keep looking at our previous meetings, I think that the defensive line, continued improvement for them and consistency, maybe not improvement, but just consistent play and physical, tough kids, linebackers who extremely physical and run well. So, it's definitely to me a different team and a huge challenge for us, and one that we got to have our best week of preparation yet.
You mentioned some things about Texas there, but I guess looking at yourselves, in what ways do you think you've improved since then?
Well, again, I think we keep talking. I think our defensive line has continued to show improvement. Different guys have stepped up. I think Gage Keys played his best football since joining our program, and he went down in the Nevada game with an ankle, and he really bounced back, worked at it. I thought he played well. I think Devin Phillips gives us that thick body inside we've talked about. Austin Booker continues to show up. Jeremy Robinson's been very consistent, but we're going to need more. Things that we've talked about here in the past, again, a guy like Cornell Wheeler probably played his most in a game, and was very pleased with his efforts and how he's running around. Again, the play of our secondary and wanting to be physical and making plays happen back there, all those things I think are great signs of improvement. We've got to clean up our penalties, though. We went through some of that with our guys, and the penalties against us are what resulted in those drives, much like it is many times in football, are very consistent to success and non-success. And, you give them extra plays, they're going to score. You play behind the chains, you're probably going to punt. And that kind of played out. So, and we have some controllable penalties in there that we've got to get better at, especially going on the road to this environment.
And just being ranked again, like you were last season in the top 25, does that mean a whole lot to you ahead of this week or no?
Yeah, I would, it's not going to mean anything once the ball's kicked off, obviously, but it means a lot for this program from where it was and where it's going. But these guys have worked hard, and it's good that in both polls, because one is by many, it can be guys like you, and then there's ones that are more peers, guys like me. And I won't tell you which one both 24, so it's probably one of the few times everybody sees it the same, right? But it's for us to to get through this first third of the season in this position, and all those things, as we keep saying at this time, are things that are stacking for our program in a positive direction. But again, how I told the team again, and it starts, of course, this week, but this next third of the season is where we find out if this program takes another step.
You talk about working on penalties, and it seems like they've been coming from a lot of different sources and situations. Just what does working on removing penalties actually kind of look like for you guys?
Well, that's easier said than done, because I think coaches would have eliminated penalties decades ago. The movement, the false starts or the illegal motions is a discipline and timing thing that you got to work on, a concentration, and we do. And jumping, a flinch by a defensive lineman is focus and concentration on the football and not sounds. Hands to the face, that rarely is on purpose, okay? Kenny's PI, I don't know. It was a really quick kind of, but he probably hooked him enough to slow the guy down. You just wish that sometimes they were consistent with that. That's kind of a judgment thing. What was the other one we're sending in? But, and we said this last time as well, is if it was one person and one thing, you could pretty much really get it addressed, but they vary week to week.
I just wanted to ask, you got 2 games coming up now that are on national networks with the ABC and Fox. What does that kind of exposure mean?
Yeah, I think it goes with the ranking question. That's a good question. I go, to play on ESPN versus one of their other channels versus, ABC, Fox. I think, there's a lot that goes into those decisions by those networks and what time frames they want you in and the eyes that they think in. To me, I don't know, I'm not in the meeting, but it's not just the 2 fan bases, it's then the neutral eyes and how many are going to can be fixed upon those and where do they want them. And for us to get on those means a lot. And it's kind of a quiet compliment that and hopefully we can do this more often.
You look at a quarterback the caliber of Quinn Evers, like what goes into a week like this practicing against him and trying to get, what you want out of the team on Saturday?
Could you repeat that, please?
You look at a quarterback the caliber of Quinn Evers.
Yeah.
What kind of goes into preparing for a quarterback like him?
Yeah, I thought, we played an excellent quarterback this last week too, and it's, he is an excellent quarterback. Let's not get that, he's going to be a high draft pick. I don't know if it's appropriate to say hopefully sooner than later or whatever, but it's it's the weapons as well. So disrupting, keeping them out of rhythm, get them in longer, down in distance. That's the huge challenge. And I think we've talked and I think we've gotten some recognition or compliments on our the diversity of our offense and how we spread around and the personnel. Well, they do it as good as anybody as well when you look at the people that get touches and how they do it and some of the stuff they're doing off of it. So trying to keep them out of rhythm is going to be very important.
And you guys are ranked one of the top teams in the country in special teams. Did you see this big of a lead coming from where you guys were last year?
I wonder what statistical national ranking question I was going to get today. And I was going to say, guys, I don't, because of who you play, I don't know, but that's really cool to know because I didn't study that before this. And my biggest thing is I think we've improved in that. Now, I didn't think, we need to be, there's some things in our kick return game we needed to be better at, whether it be fair catching earlier, understanding when they're kicking from the 50 and hang times and all those things we need to be better. But as a group, I think our special teams have gotten better. And again, it's going to be needed as we go on the road.
And is there any injury updates or any guys limited?
Yeah, I'd say Michael Ford, didn't finish the game. He did not practice today. I'd put him in the questionable area if we're labeling that kind of stuff. That's about the best I could give you. Hopefully, Taiwan did practice. I don't know where he'll be at, but because he's practiced before and it's kind of gone that route. Those are really the biggest ones right now. Andrew Russell might not be available, and that could be a long one, and we'll know more here later this week.
Lance, another 4-0 start. You had a good group of recruits. You got renovations coming. Have you noticed the perception as you guys reach out to recruits maybe change, that they're listening more?
Yeah, I think so. Biggest thing, of course, right now is where we're at with our commits and things like that, making sure we're maintaining that, and everything seems solid there where, again, they're seeing it and they're getting excited weekly as well. But as we continue to progress, I think that it is of young men today, because, it is a lot about the now, and that's why, again, that's holistic on the, between our facilities and any changes, but continually playing well and showing those things, having sellouts and big crowds and all that kind of add to how young men make decisions, and it's very important. And again, I think as this continues to go and these opportunities, much to the network type questions, it's all they all kind of play a part together, and I expect that it'll help us down the road.
And I do have a ranking statistic question for you. Being number one in third down conversions, that's got to mean something.
Yeah, it does. And again, there's a lot of reasons for that. The execution of our offense, putting the plans together, all those things have kind of stacked in there together. That seems to be my word today. But, staying in the normal down and distance as much as possible as well has really helped us move along, and again, the experience of the guys on the field and working together, and that was one of the things I think we talked about after the game. Even though we were down at halftime, there was a nice presence of calmness of, hey, we're gonna get things corrected and get this thing taken care of. That I think that kind of plays part of our execution on some of those situations as well. Like Jalen's throw to Luke Grimm for the last touchdown, that was 3rd and 6 or something, and it was something like that. Brian, you want to correct? But that was a heck of a throw, timing catch by both, and big time conversion for us.
You talked about Wheeler a little bit ago. It's a lot of talk about him over camp, and then he did take a little time to get out there and make an impact, but he's doing it now. What's changed with that?
Well, he was slowed by injury. Okay. And if I remember right, it was a hamstring. Again, a guy that, we talked about him in the spring. We talked about a little bit of camp, and then all of a sudden, just about the time, and he wasn't fully available. And then you kind of you fall behind, and rotations can change on you. But really nice to see him go out there and play with confidence. That's what I was really happy for him. And he forced the fumble, but they recovered it. Now, but he's doing things. You could see him. And for a player like him, it's neat to see, because you see him kind of beaming with confidence and excitement, and it's starting. Because he's had a tough road. Transferring in here from Michigan, doing those things, but hopefully it starts to fully come together.
And then I also wanted to ask about road game. You obviously have had one of those this year, but you've got a team full of guys that have done this and taken road trips and treated the whole thing like a business trip and all that. How much advantage is there to that, especially for a game of this magnitude?
Yeah, we were inside today, and we had crowd noise and we start working on that a little bit more, because this will be a little bit different, amount of people and sound than our first one. Then I started thinking I got to look at it hopefully, in the next day or so. But really, how many guys haven't played in this big a stadium at that type of, and all the things that may occur with it, and but. Flip side, yeah, there's a good majority of that offense and defense, like the back seven, I think, except Craig's never been there, but he's been through his time, so it'll definitely be a part, and that's where, being the youngest, I said there's one thing about going back to usually when we're the youngest Power 5 football team in the country to now, probably be on the upper side of experience is definitely something that we need to use to our advantage.
Does that extend to like the process of the trip too? You know?
Yeah, I think so. I met with our leadership group. We talk about a few things. We've been kind of tweaking a few things home or away based on some travel or how we do our meetings, but kind of give them a little input of, how we want to do our downtime, how much time, which group of meetings we want to try to stack together. But they handle it, and they've been able to, you got to watch it. You don't get 10 different ideas, but they understand, and we're creatures of habit, and as long as we can stay in good routines, I think they have a chance to prepare to get ready for kickoff.
I've got a two-part question about Keaton Kubeka. Saw him on Saturday, I think, get double-digit snaps, somewhere around there. What has he shown you guys in practice to earn those reps? And on the other hand, at what point in time do you have that conversation about a potential red shirt, not taking a red shirt?
Yeah, he didn't go to Nevada with us because he had been sick and things. But our intentions now. This will be his fourth game. Obviously, it's going home for him. So I don't see us pulling back and redshirting him at this time. What he has shown from really is that he's been able to handle the load and the moments that we've asked him to step in. Learn the offense and learn everything that goes with it. And, but I had a chance, Andy and I had a chance to go watch him play last year during our open week. And, his composure and energy and everything was so impressive. But I walked away from being saying this guy's going to help us early because he's a big body who's willing to block on the perimeter, and he loves playing special teams besides being the return man. And that's where he's been able to show, and he's helping this football team. So that's probably what has probably shown us, why he's ready now. He played in an excellent high school football program in Austin, so the moments aren't, he kind of comes in with a probably different set of things that allows him to handle this and be ready to go. And we're excited about him now and his future ahead.